Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome, my friends. My name is Vincenzo, and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Talk about being happy. We've ordered a pen, folks, and I finally have it in my hands. It's an Hongdian Wa35 or 351, depending on where you see it. It got stuck. My original delivery got stuck with Canada Post, who are on strike. Couldn't get the pen. I couldn't wait. So what did I do? I went on Amazon.com and I ordered the same pen a second time, and I got it finally. I also ordered the CA35, which is kind of another version of this symbolic pen. And you know what? I got one that's blue stuck with Canada Post, and I got another one at Amazon.com, which I expect to receive sometime soon. So stay tuned for that. Spoilers alert, I'm very happy with this pen. I love this pen, but I want you to know why, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're back with the pen. I gotta tell you, I'm so excited about this pen. Maybe it's just because I've been, longing for an Hongdian pen almost all year, and we're almost into December. So, where do we start? Let's start with the finials. Very nice. There's kind of a plasticky feel, but I'm not sure what that's made of, frankly, but very nice. It feels very, very solid. The same goes for the bottom finial. I guess, you got the aerospace and the space motif everywhere, rocket ships and all the rest of it. So you can see that finial. This knob doesn't turn because it is a cartridge converter. Pen, but you could see the motif on this. It's well ordained, and it's smooth, but you got so much detail. And let's go back to the cap. Now in the cap, you've got a star here. You've got the star there, obviously very symbolic, very patriotic, if you want. But take a look at this, what they described as a doubled layered cap. Indeed. This is very smooth, by the way. It's not as if this is sharp in any way. It's very well done. And you've got kind of a double layer. Underneath, you've got kind of a greenish military look, I would say. At least that's the way I see it. There's all kinds of symbols here, and I'm sure many of them escape me. But if you go down to the center cap, you see Hongdian, and then there's some Chinese lettering, and there's the WA35. Now, I've seen this pen as WA35, and I've seen it as WA351. Why some add the one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there is a difference. I also have ordered the CA35, which I hope to get soon. I'm excited about that pen as well. Then if we look at the barrel, There's all kinds of space motif. There you got the kind of a rocket ship and, parts of space stations and the like. But all of that, there's some relief here, okay? When I touch that, there's relief there. So I gotta tell you, very nice. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, Chinese pens are knockoffs. This is not a knockoff of anything. This is a completely original design. Very nice. I mean, I'm just hoping that the nib performs like the nib on the D5. Speaking of nibs, let's just open it up and see how many turns here. That's 1. So hold on, even less than 1. That's 3. So it's less than 1, 3/4. And we see this nib. Again, space related, Hongdian. There's a rocket ship. This is a fine. I wish they had a medium. I really do. In fact, I wish they had a broad. We've seen this kind of a section before where they do this kind of squarish pattern, which 1, ordains the pen, and 2, helps with the grip. All of that is very, very smooth. So there's character there and at the same time smoothness. We'll take a look at the comfort level of the pen in a wider camera angle view. Like I mentioned, this is a cartridge converter. Some would say I'm disappointed. I would have hoped to have a piston, but they're easier to clean, eh? And it makes this pen, and we'll talk about the weight in a second. So there you have inside, look at that. You've got an O-ring, you've got that very nice Hongdian branded converter. Very nice, metal on metal. That is smooth, very well done. There is a little bit of looseness there, but once it shuts down with that O-ring, there's no rattling of any sort. Very well done. Look at it. There's more work there. I think you have to appreciate that. You've got that nice new feed, or most recent feed, Hongdian feed, a plastic feed, which is good news. It's not the old one. I think this one, the flow is very, very nice. Does that nib, can we dismantle that nib? I haven't tried it. I should have done it before. Is this screw in? No. Let's just see. Yeah, comes off very nicely. There's an O-ring there. So again, that's very well done. So you want to switch nibs, it's possible. Very nice. I got to tell you, I'm very, very happy. I'm just hoping that the writing sample is going to live up to the rest of the pen. And the weight, when you look at this pen, you say, oh, not another metal pen, it's going to weigh a ton, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's a really nice weight. That cap's got all these, holes, that grid, so it makes it much lighter. I don't know what material is being used. I don't know if there's any aluminum in there, but it's a fairly light pen, and we'll give you some measurements in just a few minutes. But so don't think that this is a heavy pen like the D1 or even the 100. It simply isn't. So there you have it. Let me change cameras. We'll take a wider angle, and we'll take a look at the comfort and see how it sits in the hand. Okay, so we're back with a wider shot here, and first thing to note is comfort. Very comfortable pen, not slippery at all in my view. Very soft on the hands here. None of this really interferes with your grip. You can hold it either a little bit further up, but it kind of falls a little bit short, but I have big hands, or it's got a little bit of a flare, Very nice. Does it post? I don't think so. I mean, no matter how hard I try to post this pen, it doesn't. It's probably the only thing that's, you can say, and we'll get to the likes and dislikes, but, that's maybe an issue for some people. Not for me, because I don't post my pens. But objectively speaking, it doesn't appear to post. Otherwise, very, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable, I must say. I just love this pen. I love the weight of this pen. And let's take a look inside the barrel just to see if there's anything that we need to be concerned about. It looks like there's kind of a plastic sleeve there. I suspect that this pen will stay fairly wet, like some of the other offerings from Hongdian. So I don't expect to have a problem. The clip, very flexible and functional. Very, very nice. Very nice, I've got to tell you. So what's next? Well, let's do some pen and size comparison, will you? Okay. So what have I got for you? Well, I picked a bunch of Chinese pens, and we'll kind of put them all in order here. Put the subject pen in there just to see where it all kind of fits in. There you go. So that's the subject pen. As you can see, it is slightly smaller than the Hongdian A6. It's slightly bigger than the Hongdian 100, substantially smaller than the J16, the Asvine. Smaller also compared to the Asvine V200. Both of these pens are huge pens. And this is the Hongdian D5, and as you can see, it's slightly smaller. And those of you who are concerned about heavy pens, I can assure you that there is a major, major difference between these two. So some of you don't like the weight on this pen. Well, you won't have the same problem on this one. Let me just show you. Okay, so this is the Hongdian D5. It's what, 56.4 grams, 56.4 compared to 44.3, so almost 10 grams less. So those of you who don't like heavy metal pens, this is at least is not one of those heavy monsters where you can throw it at somebody and knock them out. It's not. It is a metal pen, so you're going to get some weight. But at what did we say, 44.3 compared to the J16, which is 45, so it's lighter than that one, compared to the Asvine V200, which is kind of hollow, right? And there's very little metal there. It's much heavier compared to the 100. Look at that. So much lighter than the 100 compared to the A6, which got all this. It's a skeleton pen, so you suspect it's lighter. But you see, 45 compared to 44. So even this skeleton pen, the A6, is heavier than the subject pen. So there you have in terms of weight. And I did want to mention that because some of you might be wondering how it all fits in. What we'll do is we'll place the pens uncapped and see where we stand. Okay, here are the pens uncapped. As you can see, uncapped, it is smaller than the D5, but it's just as big as the A6 and the 100. It is smaller than the J16. It is smaller than the V200, which are, huge pens. In terms of girth, a little bit thinner, I would say, than the D5, although the design may kind of deceive us. But I can tell that the D5, I think, is a much heavier and girthier pen. But that gives you an indication. You can see the section, how it is a little bit similar with design, not as elaborate, but some design to avoid slippage. You got, the 3 lines here on the A6 to avoid slippage as well. But I find that grip is just fine. Yes, it's metal, but it's not super slippery, and it functions very nicely. Thank you very much. I will not take a look at them posted, given that this pen doesn't post. So I'll put up some measurements and then go straight to that writing sample. I'm really, really, really anxious about that. I really want you to see what results that writing sample will give us. Okay, so we're back for the writing sample. First things first, the ink. Well, I had the choice between these two. I figured I'd go with some Hongdian ink to kind of match the pen, right? And I have this peacock blue or simple blue. At the end of the day, here are the two swatches for those two inks. Where are we? Actually, I think they're here. No. Here they are. So I have Hongdian blue, which is more kind of a royal blue, very nice, but it's a royal blue. And then I have Hongdian peacock blue, which is a turquoise with some shading. I went with the peacock blue. I don't know what it is these days, but turquoise seems to be, that and green inks appear to be the two go-to inks for me these days. And look, it's moods, right? So we'll let the mood last for as long as it does, and we'll take it from there. So what is this pen going to give us? Let's just take a look. I'm just going to yeah, there we go. So you can take a real nice look at. So this is the and this is what they call the aerospace pen. And talk about aerospace. Let me just interrupt my writing sample. When I look at my notes, it's a collaboration between aerospace and military sectors. So you can tell, you know, you've got the motif of the aerospace and the military underneath that cap. It's dedicated to galaxy exploration. And indeed, you've got all this elaborate design there. It's a double layered cap, as I mentioned. Micro damping design. I think that's what it's referring to in this barrel. Of course, it's got symbolic engravings on the barrel and everywhere else. It's got all kinds of stainless steel patterns everywhere. It's got a space engine finial, and of course, it's got a specially decorated nib. So that is the description of the pen that I found. It's actually a translation of some of the Chinese advertising that I found on the internet. Back to the writing sample. The nib is, of course, a Hongdian number 6 steel, fine. The ink is the Hongdian peacock blue. Beautiful shading ink, gotta tell you. And I forgot to mention the paper. Well, the paper is Tomoe River, and this is a notepad, and it's the original. Okay, so there we have it. Sorry about that. Wetness. Very wet. Is it smooth? You bet. Anywhere I go, upstrokes, side strokes up, side strokes down, it is absolutely well tuned and smooth as butter, I can tell you. And for a fine, it's extremely wet. You know, we say, well, it's too bad I don't have a medium. This is kind of close to a medium, I got to tell you. Reverse writing. Yeah, you can get some. Probably an extra fine line there. Fast writing. Yeah, keeps up just beautifully. Got to tell you, wow, 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 wow. Very nice. Now, Likes and dislikes. Well, there's very little. Well, personally, I have no dislikes. But if I'm going to be objective, I'm going to get rid of it right away, is that it does not post. But for me, it's not a dislike, but it may be for others. In terms of likes, I like the design. I like the build quality. I like the motif of the pen. I guess it goes with design. I love the nib. In terms of value, I paid this on Amazon.com. What is it, $29 US, so roughly $30 US. What a deal. It's excellent value. Sorry about that. And you know what? Is this going to be a go-to pen? I think it'll be a little too flashy for, boardroom discussions between lawyers and businessmen. It would attract a little bit too much attention, but in terms of to the extent that we have boardroom meetings, because these days everything is done by Teams and Zoom, which is unfortunate. But having said all of that, it's a go-to pen for me at the office or even for journaling. It's very comfortable, writes really nicely. So, folks, it's got my complete endorsement. If you want a nice pen for $30 and you've been saving up, wondering what this thing will look like or feel, 10 on 10. Now, if you wondered, forgot to mention the spring on this pen. And I'll kind of try to close up in the editing. Yeah, it's got the nice Hongdian. Can I get some? Not really, but it does have that spring just to make the line a little wetter, if you will. Does it have the same spring that I love in this D5? Let's just see. Yeah, very similar. This is an extra fine. Maybe a little more on this nib. I always thought that this nib was a gold nib. They both write like gold nibs. I got to tell you, they both have the softness of gold nibs. I don't know how they do it, but they did it. So there you have it. Ten on 10. Finally, Hongdian came up with a pen. I mean, what? They came up with like 3. The last one, that wood, stabilized wood pen, not impressed. At the beginning of the year, they had some of the, Year of the Dragon, was it? Pens that worked, so to speak, because one of them, the cap kept cracking. It was made out of wood. I don't believe I've seen anything in between of anything. Anyway, if I did, I forgot. I think this is like their 3rd pen. So you know what? But it's a winner. They waited by the time this thing airs, it'll be December, because I'm filming it on November 30th. So I will not be airing it on November 30th. It'll be sometime in December. And you know what? They waited almost a year for this pen, but it was worth the wait. Will it be on my favorite Chinese pen list at the end of the year? Stay tuned for that, but it's got a good chance. I'm certainly going to have to put it on the table to evaluate it. I can tell you that much. It's got my full endorsement. There you have it. Grazie molto. Thank you very much for joining me. Please subscribe. For those of you who have not. If you like this video, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know, but let me know why. And folks, it's fountain pen therapy. Enjoy your pens. Enjoy your Hongdian WA35 or 351, and stay tuned for the Hongdian CA35. With any luck, I'll get it in a couple of days, and I'll put up my review as quickly as possible. Ciao!